Hello everyone, it's that Catholic Gamer Dude here, just doing a little vlog to kind of catch everybody up to speed on what's going on and why even, the minimal amount of video output has gone down lately to the point of 0. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Let's take things kind of just from the top. First things first, work. I have a day job. I'm a software developer, for those who don't know. And before I go and complain about my job like any typical American, I just want to say that, unlike most Americans, I seem to actually enjoy my job. I really like where I work. The management staff is very reasonable and stuff like that. And, but just stuff happens on occasion. And what we're seeing now at work is that we're seeing several high-priority words. I cannot speak. Let me try that again. Several high-profile projects kind of colliding with each other. And I happen to be kind of in the midst of that soup. So I have had little time to, I guess, kind of walk through, let's just back up a little bit, just kind of talk about how my typical day at my job usually goes. And that have meetings in the morning, and then kind of just go for lunch, and then in the afternoon, slam out some code to justify my existence there. And then, as the day is winding down and things are kind of trickling out, because I'm a latecomer, I'm usually one of the last people there. That's when I start working on things like script or start tooling around with ideas. I'm still doing maintenance work and some other stuff like that, but just that kind of lull in the day allows me to, kind of put a few things together for the channel so that when I get home, I can do a lot of the grunt work of just, putting together the stills or the frames for the videos and other things like that. But lately, because there have been so many projects in flight and so many meetings and so much coordination, from the minute I walk in to the minute I walk out, I am busy. I'm fortunate if I actually have some time for lunch. And it's been kind of frustrating because I'm just mentally spent. I have no time to work on just anything that I would like to work on. And so when I get home and I have maybe an hour left to do something, I just do not have the energy or the motivation to put any stuff together at the moment. Unfortunately, this is probably going to keep up, although things seem to be slowing down a little bit finally, thank goodness, because everyone has realized that it's been a management nightmare up until this point. So we've kind of restructured and redealt how we're going to manage some of the chaos for the next couple of months. And so things today and yesterday were good signs that things are starting to finally, that order is finally starting to be imposed. So, it is what it is. And unfortunately, because I am a tech lead for one of the teams, my time, especially my input as a tech lead, is spent in a lot of time trying to help manage a lot of these projects and just trying to impose order on chaos. So that's been really tough. What's next on the agenda, according to my little script here? Yes. For those who have been following this little saga, people know that my son, my little guy, who appears on the video on occasion as the little kid, he has what has been what's called a tethered cord. And for those who don't know, this is just not to make a huge deal out of it, but basically it's a kind of you have these, the dumb explanation for people who know nothing about medical stuff, including myself, is that you have these kind of threads that hang off of your spinal cord. Everybody has them. And unfortunately, every once in a while, for some kids, especially in infancy, they attach themselves to the back. That's what's called a tether cord, and it puts pressure on the spinal column because then it can cause developmental problems and other things like that. Now, my son is 2.5 years old, and little guy has shown no signs whatsoever. And in fact, if they hadn't told us that he might have this condition, we would never know there was anything wrong. I mean, he's just been running around, just all kinds of, perfectly fine development-wise. So it's been really frustrating. But his new specialist, his previous one retired, so we went to go see a new one in May, and his new specialist has recommended that we do the surgery to have that snipped. It's fairly routine, according to them, and it is. That's also it's a case of it is what it is, and So we're just going to go ahead and do it because even though he's asymptomatic, we want to try and keep it that way, because if we don't treat it now, he could start developing some problems like, nerve damage and a whole bunch of other really scary stuff. So it's been really fortunate that we caught it this early before it develops into something really serious, especially since he hasn't had any symptoms up until this point. So, and the older he gets, the more potential for risk that he has. And so it's just, I thank God that we caught it as quickly as we did, especially since when I think about the series of odd coincidences that we had, that actually led us to figure out that he actually has this problem, because his regular pediatrician wasn't available for a day that he was sick for something, so we went to go see someone else. She said, "Oh, we might want to take a look at this," so I recommended to a regular physician. His regular pediatrician said, "Yeah, okay," so we sent it to a specialist. The specialist said, "Yeah, it's probably not going to happen, but we'll do an MRI anyway." And then MRI is like, "Whoa, this might actually be something." So it's been a ride, but and it's got to be done, and they treat it fairly routine. In fact, it's kind of funny because of the way that they treat it as so routine that they're treating it as if it were like going to the doctor's office or something like that. And for us as parents who are freaking out because your 2-year-old needs surgery, and that's the last thing you want to hear. But because they're treating it with such a casualness, it's almost reassuring in a way. It's kind of weird, but that's what we've been juggling with. So that's going to be next Tuesday, and so that's what we've been kind of emotionally dealing with, and that's what I've been dealing with emotionally on top of everything else. There's other stuff going on. I'm not really at liberty to announce it now, just because we're still trying to sort it out. But those are the two biggest things right now in terms of what's impeding my ability to produce these videos with any kind of regularity. And unfortunately, at least until he has a surgery and things calm down at the rest of this month, it's going to be kind of sporadic. I'm still working on stuff. Like I said, these last 2 days have been a bit calmer. I've been able to get back into something resembling a routine at work. And as a result of that, I've been able to do a little bit of the prep work. And I've had some more mental energy to kind of crank out the script for the next video. Thinking I might make that a little bit short just so I have something to produce, because if at the pace I'm going, it's going to be next month before I get it out. So that's what I'm going to focus on. What else is there? As far as what I'm doing in terms of further research, one of the things I did for during this downtime was Daedalic Entertainment, the geniuses behind the Deponia series, released a sequel to it, which was supposed to be a finished trilogy. Now, for those who have watched my Deponia review of the entire of the first 3 games, you know that I love this series, and so I was very hesitant at first because I thought that I felt that the story was complete, and I felt that the ending was great. For a comedy series, it actually had a good amount of depth to it, and I was really happy with it. But I should learn just to trust Daedalic, because they released this 4th game in the series, and I really liked it. And I'll most likely make a review of it because I just love it. Love the series to death. Most people don't. I feel like I'm the only one who does. But for those who do like it, it's kind of it's a small cult classic, and I'm really looking forward to putting together a review and giving this game a little more light that would otherwise be given. Other than that, like I said, I'm working on the next video. It's going to be a bit more positive. I'm going to look at a couple of different game series in terms of what when religion is done well or when moral theming is done well. It's going to be a little bit sporadic because it's kind of hard, in terms of a whole. We've talked about how gaming has been at a rough time capturing religion in general, and without it falling into stereotypical traps. So I did want to highlight when games do it well. And so I'll have a couple of examples in the video. Kind of talk about just what we're going for with this channel in terms of, we don't want to complain all the time about the representation of religion in video games and morality in video games. We want, when game developers do well, we want to highlight that. And so that's what this next video is going to hopefully kind of demonstrate what we're kind of shooting for here. Anything else? I was going to put together a Witcher 2 review. I beat it sometime last year, and for those who have been following the channel know that I kind of like to think about it for quite a while. the video games that I beat before I actually put together a review. But I realized in doing my research on The Witcher 2 that the path that I took was actually the suboptimal path in terms of story content, at least according to what looks like the majority of players. So I'm playing through it again, and I'm finding how excruciatingly painful the first chapter is. It just takes forever to get through, mostly because the difficulty spike is gigantic. So still working through that. Once I get past the first chapter, things will be a bit more smooth sailing. And so we'll just go ahead and kind of plow through that. And that is more or less it here at the Catholic Gamer Dudes channel here. Next month, the rest of this month will probably be a bit rocky in terms of content, but I'm hoping things will stabilize at least a little bit so I can put out LPs and start working on the videos again on a regular basis. But most likely, at least until the surgery, which is going to be next Tuesday, there's probably going to be very little content until we get that worked out. Mostly because, not just for the surgery itself, but there's also going to be some prep work. Like, soon, as a requirement, they're going to want to do some blood work on him. And blood work on a 2.5-year-old. I mean, that's just great, right? Right. So, that's what it is right now. If you guys could, pray for us during this time. And again, the surgery is on Tuesday, so if you could drop a quick prayer to God, asking him to just keep an eye on us as we get through it. The surgery itself is, again, as routine as it gets for general anesthesia surgery. It's only supposed to take an hour long, and then they'll just keep him overnight for observation and discharge him the next day. But he's 2.5. And so, yeah, he's totally going to understand that, right? Right. So, yeah. So thank you very much, guys. As always, thank you so much for your support and for this channel, and appreciate, especially the last video, we got a lot of feedback and a lot of discussions, and it was really good. Keep it up, and if you got any other examples or something that you might want to see worked into the video, if I got time, I'd love to see it, see some suggestions about what you guys have seen in religion in games that have been done well, or examples of religious figures doing well in games. I guess, really just any kind of example of some kind of when do developers get it right, there's a lot of video games out there, and video games get a bad rap when it comes to religion, and most of it is deserved, but when they do it right, we want to celebrate that. So feel free to drop a line in the comments. Just keep us in your thoughts and prayers on occasion, if you would. We'd really appreciate that. And always thank you for your support on this channel, and I will see you next time.